I'm the only thing between you and the results, so I'm going to make it quicker. And I know it's quite late. Thank you very much for staying. I hope I can make it useful. And yeah, your destiny is the sum of what you are given and what you do with it. I mean, first of all, I want to say I was really impressed by some of the presentations I saw today. It was great to see some of the products and companies pitching already, you know, having revenues, having demos, some being very, very ambitious. So it was really, really great to see. But hopefully, you know, I can sort of, you know, add and help a little bit here. So this is myself and my team about 4 years ago when we did eRepublik. And my goal today is really sort of, you know, for all of you who haven't started a business yet, who are still thinking of a business, to basically, if you have an idea, is to turn that idea into a transformative business. And for those of you, and there's many of you that have already presented and already have an idea and already trying to make it happen, is basically maybe give you a useful roadmap, a more concrete and practical roadmap of how to turn that idea into a successful business, sharing some of the experience that I've had across the time. So I mean, if you want to know a little bit about myself, it's very easy. You just go on my Twitter account, my LinkedIn account, and you'll see that, you know, I'm a guy that kind of enjoys throwing himself out of airplanes wearing a tuxedo with a guy on his back. But actually, if you look a bit more closely, you'll see that on my Twitter, I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, "I failed." And that's a very, very important lesson. You know, success is really, really, you know, built on a series of failures. It's really about how you react to different failures. That's how you really build success. And that's something that you'll see all the time. If you just go to my LinkedIn profile, and you'll see, you know, I've been involved in a lot of companies. I started my first company straight out of university when I was 21. That was called TradeOK.com. That was my own little personal MBA. That failed. And you know, when you say, you know, your destiny is the sum of what you are given and what you do with it, well, in that specific thing, you know, I managed to convince the father of a friend of mine to put $50,000 in it, and that's where I started with. So I was lucky enough to start with something and to be able to start that sort of thing. But then I failed, and I felt pretty bad. But that then turned into this company called Livra, which became the leading market research company in South America, that we then sold to Hypsos for a very, very high multiple. And at that time, I was actually able to return the money to my friend's father. 5 years afterwards, he was very surprised to receive the check, but he still cashed it in. Before that, another company I've been involved in, you might have heard about it. I wasn't the founder there, and that's, I think, an important lesson. At the same time as I was doing Livra, I decided, okay, I wasn't very good at this company TradeOK, so I need to learn with some other people who are doing it really well. And so I joined a company called lastminute.com when there was about 40 people. This was pre-IPO, and basically we were the last IPO before the bubble burst. That was in April 2000. We raised $150 million, and then we sold the company about 5 years afterwards for $1.1 billion. Just so that you know how even for a big success like lastminute.com, we still had many failures. I'll give you just an example. When we did the IPO and raised $150 million, within 2 weeks, the company was worth $1 billion. But our actual turnover was less than the bar where we had our meetings next door. That's just to give you an idea where things were. When we sold the company 4 years afterwards to Sabre, we actually had 2,500 employees, 2.5 billion euros in revenues, and we sold it for the same amount. So that kind of gives you an idea how you know, you really have to stick to it to make things happen. You know, and then you say, okay, you know, he's done this 2 successes, so he pretty much knows what he's doing. Well, then, you know, I did a bit of angel investing. I tried to transform the way dating worked with YesNoMaybe.com, failed. And then started eRepublik.com, or eRepublik Labs, which is a company I'm working on, and the jury's still out on it. We've won a series of prizes. We're a Telegraph Top 100 company, TechCrunch Top 25 company, lots of awards. We're a profitable company, but, you know, jury's still out on that one. Another company, FitnessKit.com, failed as well. So many failures. Where are we right now? I mean, why did I do eRepublik Labs, and what does it do? eRepublik Labs invent game worlds. And the main reason I did it is because I like games. You know, when I was 16 years old, I was doing business plans about doing a games company, and then, you know, that's what I always wanted to do. I waited a long time to do it because, you know, I had to find the right opportunity, the right problem. You know, games is a $50 billion market, and basically, you know, the box games market model sucks. It's a really bad one, that all of that is going online, and I find somebody who's naive enough to do that with me as well. So that's why I did that company. Now we've got 50 employees, 3 million registered players, and if you were wondering what this guy is doing now, George Bush is probably playing a Republic, trying to take over the world, which is better than sending people to Iran. It's a massive online strategy game, in case you were wondering. But let's start, you guys want to start a company. You guys start with the idea. Anyone can have an idea. Anyone. And, we heard somebody say, being the first helps. I mean, if you're one of these little guys, it definitely helps, the question of survival. But in business, not always, not always. I mean, how many people here, remember MySpace? How many people still use MySpace? Okay, let's go even more back in time. How many people here remember Friendster? How many people still use Friendster? 0. How many people here are on Facebook? God, there's 2 or 3 people who are not on Facebook. I'm amazed. So I mean, that gives you an idea. Being the first doesn't always help. It was key for eBay, it was key for several companies, but it's not always the most important thing. Execution is everything. Execution, execution, execution. The saying, 90% perspiration, 10% inspiration, that is really, really true. But the most important thing, and I really think is amazing, and it's great to see all these people presenting and doing this, and trying to start their companies, is that, the important is to swing the bat. Just give it a shot. Just try. Try and try and try. Because if you don't, you'll regret. And for me, regrets, they're the sum of the risks you didn't take. That's regrets. So risk it. Just give it a try. Really. And, yes, it's about skill, it's about focus, it's about equity. By the way, in terms of equity, really, really make sure you've got the right sweat equity. Focus on the sweat equity before you focus on the cash. Make sure you have a prototype before you go for financing and that sort of stuff. And yes, luck plays. Lastminute.com, last company to go public before the bubble burst. 2 weeks afterwards, lastbuy.com was supposed. Anyone remember lastbuy.com? Yeah. Well, there's a copy of it that's not called Groupon that's doing all right. Well, letsbuy.com was supposed to go public actually 3 weeks after lastminute.com. They didn't go public. Within 6 months, they were busts. So timing was important and luck as well. But the most important thing with an idea is what problem do you solve? And I saw it, not all the presentations focus very much on the problem. That is really important. The best ideas, and I'm sure you guys have heard this, but really remember it. They're simple solutions to large problems. I mean, Google, search that actually works. That was a big problem online. Yahoo was an online directory. It wasn't very practical. Google killed everybody else. Remember the iPod? Organizing all of your music collection, being able to take it everywhere. That's a big problem to solve. Simple solution. Skype. International calls cost a fortune. Skype made them free. And then, took a little thing. Big disruption there. And, very often your initial idea, it won't be the right one. I mean, it's actually quite rare where the business that you build is going to end up being exactly that. Very, very often you're going to start on an idea and it's just not going to be exactly the right one. But a good team can just turn that around. No problem. No problem. The idea isn't that important. What's important is the team. Because the right idea, but with the wrong team, will always fail. Always, always fail. If you speak here with some of the investors, they will all tell you, I don't invest in idea, I invest in people. And that's really correct. They invest in people. They want to know you, and they want to know, how hard you're ready to work on this. So the team. Co-founders are key. I mean, this relationship is going to last more than most marriages. This is really important. Pick them very, very, very carefully. Make sure you have, I'm still surprised by the number of people who come to see me and pitch me for angel investment. And I tell them, okay, So you're 3 co-founders or 4 co-founders, let's say 3 co-founders, and you each have 33% of the company. Okay, good. What happens if you leave in 6 months? Oh, I'll never leave. No, what happens? Have you prepared for it? Does your stock vest over a certain time and you just give it up if you leave? Oh, you haven't prepared that. No, go and come back. Very, very important. Be careful with that. That's the #1 reason. Well, not maybe not #1, but one of the main reasons for failure. The founder teams, everything is jolly and good when you're starting with the idea. The moment you start executing, it becomes hard. You will always have 1 or 2 of the founders that leave halfway through. If they got a lot of shares, you've got a problem. Start with sweat equity. I'm repeating this. Eat pasta for months. You really have to do it. Very, very, very important. You've got to get that prototype in front of people. Inexperience? I think it's an advantage. I don't think it's a problem. I mean, none of the people who started lastminute.com knew anything about travel. Okay, it took 35 phone calls to get a meeting with British Airways, but you just insist and insist and insist and you get there. In Republic Labs, none of us had ever designed a game before. Saying, hey, I got a good high score at Mario when I was a kid, then it doesn't really qualify. But we still managed to build a game. It doesn't matter, you learn, And you want smart doers. That's the people you want on your team, okay? You don't want people who are just smart, because that's not enough. And the worst combination are doers that are not smart. That you definitely don't want. So you want smart doers. It's very simple, really. Each time you interview somebody, he's smart, but does he get stuff done? He gets stuff done, but is he smart? Make sure, if they don't pass fully both things, don't get him on your team. And another thing that you really want to have is people are not too serious. Because this is going to be a pretty difficult moment. You're going to have arguments, you're going to have tough times, so you want to make sure that people have a sense of humor and you can have fun. And remember, there is no I in team. Another main reason for basically companies to fail is, everybody, the founders starting to, have ego issues and fight with each other and not agree on things. And that's really, really hard. And I've seen it many, many times, more often than you think. And then, very important, there must be just one cook in the kitchen. There is no I in team, but one person drives the vision. One person drives the vision. And that's the CEO. If you need to have, rotating CEOs 1 year, 2 years, and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But don't have co-CEOs. MySpace had co-CEOs, and then they got sold for $10 million after a $1 billion purchase. One person who's on my board today, who built an amazing company, was co-CEO with someone else. One of them had to go. Do not have co-CEOs. If you want to be CEO, but somebody's better qualified than you are to be CEO, swallow your pride and let that person be the CEO. If you can't live with it, don't do that company. Okay, how do you get some cash? In a more practical way. Well, at the beginning, to be honest, and this doesn't apply to all the projects I saw today, but it does apply to quite a few of the projects I saw today, and I've got to be honest. You're friends and family stage. You're not angel stage, you're not VC stage. I'm not saying this to all the projects, but some of the projects, that's the case. So unless you're these guys, you're just going to get friends and family money. And that's fine, because that's going to get you to prototype.